Hello, hello. Welcome. We're here on a Sunday afternoon chilling. We're pretty excited. This is HHC episode number 21. Pretty not impromptu, but normally we do it on Sunday mornings, but we're here in the afternoon. We wanted to wait until after the final regular season game wrapped up between the Spurs and the Suns. But I'm here with my brother Jake. We won't have Josh with us today, but that's all good. Jake, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Right on.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Did you get a chance to watch this last Phoenix game?
Yes, I did. It was pretty good, honestly. I mean, I guess no, yeah, I would just say that this game was good. Like it didn't really matter, win or lose. Um, I don't think we had like a huge lead, right? So it was just like a 10-point lead going into the third, if I'm not mistaken. And so like I feel like both teams just had one really good quarter. Ours was in the second, theirs was in the third. And then I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. Like it sucked to have lost, but I loved the ending of the game. Like I was just like, well, this is the thing that I wanted to see Trey Jones and I wanted to see Devin. It's a shame that we didn't get to see Luka play in this position, but I love to see our young guys be put in that position this early. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Well,
you never get to see that a lot.
and you would think if you put yourself in a mindset of like a regular NBA season with no COVID and anything, you would think that there would be, maybe over the course of 82 there would be about like 10 to 15, I don't know, maybe more or less, but games like this where our young guys are out there at the end of the game and Pop is like, all right, let's just like, these are the guys that kind of brought us home. Let's see what they can do, right? And kind of give. I mean, Trey Jones had to hit a couple, clutch free throws towards the end. He missed one. Keita Bates got a nice,
Kid
nice
Bates,
little putback. So,
heck yeah, man.
having to play game-winning defense. Obviously, they hit a three
But
to give.
that was a good defensive possession from Trey. Like you can't blame him for that shot going in because that man played as locked down as he could. The only other way that it could have gone down was seeing Trey just strip him before getting a shot off. But like, you know, I'd much rather see that much of a contested shot any day over any type of reach and foul or anything like that. If you try to go for a steal,
Oh, and I know that it was not off of any passes. It was pretty isolated at the top,
Mm-hmm.
but still, even just us not giving up one sharp pass to get a wide open. I mean, we've seen us. I think we've seen us lose on a wide open three, didn't we, this year? We just like gave
Yeah,
up a
the Lou
pretty open
Dort
look.
three, the Lou Dort three in OKC.
Yeah, that was probably it. Dang. But yeah, so anyways, like I agree with you. It was an exciting way to end the game. Sorry, in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
DeMar looked pretty good for parts of his, the night that he had. And obviously we are looking ahead because we're going to touch on the play-in for sure today when we're sitting here talking. But not to kind of rush past the fact that the regular season is done, man. Like thinking back to our first episode when we were talking preseason and talking all that kind of stuff, it's been a long way since then, right? So I mean, I don't know, just like also it could, that this could have been the last time we saw DeMar playing in San Antonio, or Rudy
Yeah.
for that matter. You know what I mean? Or Patty for that matter too. Like it's kind of crazy. Like I think everybody's head is thinking ahead towards Memphis, right, and all that kind of stuff. But just wanted to acknowledge, I guess, the finish that we just had, today. I don't know. I don't know if you want to add anything to just the idea of the regular season being done with.
I guess one of the things for me, because like when you're talking about like the little vets thing, it was like I loved just seeing Patty with his Spurs jacket, the retro Spurs jacket, and just cheering his guys on. There's I don't know if you saw that one point when the ref threw Keita Bates' shoe out of bounds, and Patty all like walked up to the ref. He was like, "Hey, you can't do that! Like, come on now!" Like, and like the entire Spurs bench.
He was like pretending like he was giving him a tech or something,
Yeah,
right? He was
exactly.
like
And,
going like
and
that.
so,
Yeah, that
so
was a
he's
good little
like, come on,
exchange.
man, tee up, come on now, you can't throw the shoe. Uh, and so it was cool though, I just I loved seeing Patty go out there and just be very supportive, stuff like that, especially when you're getting a day of rest to to just kind of chill, right? Like, this game didn't matter, but you still go out there, you still coach your younger players, and you're still out there, being there for them, And so I respect that a lot from Patty. One of the things that like me, our other brother Juan, and a couple of his friends had been talking to me about is just like how how Patty will be here in the future. You know what I mean? Like what his role is going to be. And personally, for me, I have been saying like, well, when Patty's coming off of a career year, obviously this last stretch has kind of brought him down a little bit. But when he's looked healthy, when he's looked rested and stuff, Patty's been kind of knocked down. He was a great help at the beginning of the season, and I just feel like you see something like that out of Patty, and it's like, why would we why would he accept a deal from us that's going to be more team friendly and um and know his role is going to be even more diminished when you see guys like Trey coming back. Derek's going to come back healthy, and that's going to be another position taken up. And it's just like, I don't know. I just don't think Patty, like, I could see Patty join us and join back with us and stay as a Spur forever, because Patty, I don't think anywhere this season Patty's like said, like, oh, it's been a great ride, San Antonio, you know what I mean? Like, this is just my last year type thing, or um like he just doesn't want to come back or anything like that. But when you're playing like that, why are you going to accept a deal from a team like this when you could go to another contender and be in a better role, in a better position? That's
Yeah,
sort of like the
and
only thing
and
for
and
me.
he's as like tied to the community as he is and all that kind of stuff. He's a professional. He would go and be a bright spot in any community that he's a part of. You know what I mean? He would go and thrive in any. Like you said, he could be a helper on a contender and that kind of stuff on the basketball court, and he could also still kind of have all the fulfillment that he has here somewhere else too. Yeah. So I mean,
Exactly. And
I get what you're saying.
it's not like I don't ever say any of that to be like, oh, I'm just ready for Patty to leave and for us to bring in Trey Jones. Like, I'm kind of ready for that, but I'm not saying that like I want Patty to leave. Like I want Patty to retire. I want Patty to retire as a Spur. I want
It's
us to,
it's it's like a smaller version or a different version of like what Tony Parker was going through a couple years ago.
and it's just like, like he's just too good to be a third string point guard. Like this, some people might consider otherwise, but that's just because of the end of the season. We're in this grueling end of the season, and Patty's an older guy. He's not going to be as fresh as a guy like DJ is. He's not in his prime like Lamar. You know,
Yeah, and
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 so
he's got a lot of miles too with his national team and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
exactly. So it's just like, like I know Patty's better than what we've been seeing this last like stretch for basketball. I know Patty's better than that, and I think he can be better on another contender. You know what I mean? Like personally, I'd love to see Patty stay here with us, but not be in a rotational spot. You know what I mean? Like if Patty's with us, he's gonna be the third string point guard. I don't want him to be getting as many rotational minutes, because I want Trey Jones to start putting in that role. I want our other guys to start getting more minutes, and
Yeah.
so that just leaves Patty like on the bench being a player coach. And as much as I'd love to see Patty doing that for us, I know there's more for him to do. I know that he can go and be a contender for a team like Philly or a team like LA. You know what I mean? Like any of those teams that just want another 3-point shooter on the team to just fill that role, to be that positional. And then I feel like Patty's even more, because Patty has had to adapt and become more of a playmaker and have the ball in his hands. So it's like,
Yeah,
I
and
think
he's not gonna have to. Uh, um, he's not gonna. You can anticipate him not feeling as gassed through the season because he's just not gonna have to do as much going to somebody else's team. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so that's that's like one of the reasons why like if Patty leaves, of course I don't think anybody would be hurt by Patty leaving to go to a contender, unless you see Patty go to like, I don't know, Charlotte, Chicago, like those teams that just like aren't like, if he just goes to get a bag, I'm like, oh, I don't know, Patty, why would you do that? But if he goes to another contender, goes to help contend and be a leader again, like or not again because he's a leader here, but go be another vet and contend for another team. That's fine. Go do that, Patty. I want you to go win again. If he stays here and retires as a Spur, I'm also like, that's good. Let's keep Patty. Let's keep building the culture. Let's keep him being our leader.
Yeah.
And I think it just kind of goes both ways on that. That was just like my little like tangent I wanted to kind of go through because me and Juan had been like kind of talking about it, and he had so adamant about like, well, we got to keep Patty, we got to, and I'm like, I don't know. Let's see what happens.
I mean, it is a little interesting to think like if Patty were to leave, because I think DeMar, nobody would be surprised if he stays. There will be a lot of people that'll be happy. Some people that probably would hope that we didn't do it, but I think everybody wouldn't be like super surprised if he goes either way, right? If he stays or if he leaves. I think if Rudy were to stay, there would be a lot more people who don't like it.
Yeah, than people who would love to see it.
And they're still, I mean, obviously, I think if the numbers work and all that kind of stuff, there is a way that he could stay at a diminished role, kind of like what you were saying about Patty. But it's interesting because like he could stay but he definitely could go. Patty could stay, but he definitely could go. DeMar can stay or go, and it kind of feels a little bit like because he's a bigger name, so he has more control. It kind of feels like you kind of are just right in the middle on that one, or not you, but. And everybody,
yeah. I get what
but it's interesting to think like, what if all three of them are gone? Like, where is our like? Are we gonna try to? I don't know. Like, where does our like veteran leadership come from? Where does our, what I mean?
At that point, though, for me, it's like I love the idea of like slowly throwing guys out there and putting them in roles, but also having cushion in DeMar, Patty, and Rudy. At the same time, though, I'm also like getting to the point where I'm like, I'm ready to just see these guys go out there. Like,
yeah. And have their version of whatever it's going to be.
Like, obviously there's those people like Devin, like Keldon, obviously our future draft pick next year, like those guys are going to need more time to keep developing. But, Derek's not getting any younger. Derek is in his late 20s. DJ's going to be 25, 26 next year. And he's going to be building into the character that he's, or that like he is like at this point right now. There's only so much that I think DJ can start to improve on. You can always improve on as a basketball player, no matter what the age is. I feel like one of the prime examples is seeing Vince Carter turn from that athletic dunker scorer guy into a three-point specialist kind of guy, just running around the perimeter.
Or even if it's just incremental improvement, kind of like we were talking yesterday about like how DeMar's assist numbers have just consistently gone up. Even into this second and a half, going into like the third leg of his like career. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
there are still ways to get better, like you said.
Exactly, and so DJ can still get better, but DJ's also going into his prime now. Like he's gonna be in this stint where he's starting to you're gonna see peak DJ. You're gonna see DJ at his best from 25 to 28, 29 years old. Like those are gonna be those years, and so it's like, well, when are we going to start letting DJ be that guy? You know what I mean? Like, when are we going to start letting him build into his own? When are we going to start letting Lonnie build into his own? Lonnie's in his 4th year in his contract, and we're still unsure about what we feel about Lonnie. As is he this streaky guy who's just not going to be consistently putting 20? Like you're going to see him drop goose eggs like he did.
I think I get what you're saying, and I do agree. With like Rudy, with DJ and Derek, I'm looking right now. Like, I mean, they're the only two guys that we're really committed to financially. Obviously, we're gonna be extending Lonnie for something. We're gonna be extending Keldon for something. Well, that will be a little later. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like I would say that Derek White and DeJounte, they are in like that. They're kind of in phases, right? It's like DJ and White are kind of linked together, and then you got Lonnie and Keldon that are like just a couple years behind them in terms of like their contract timelines and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, if we know we have DJ on the books for the next 2 years, we know we have Derek White on the books for the next 4 years after this year. You know what I mean? This next year is the first year of his like extension year, or like his you know what I mean? So if we know we have Derek for the next 4 years, yeah, it's like, all right, let's give you the reins next year. So now we can see what year 2 and year 3 are really looking like with you as the head of the snake. And then we can make
Exactly.
yeah. So, I
'Cause
mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, like DJ, it's going to be, it is going to feel different. And I'm not trying to say earlier when I was bringing it up, I'm not trying to say that like we absolutely need one of those 3 guys to stay, the veterans. I'm just trying to think out loud of like, it's crazy that like we could be looking at a team next year like that
Mhm.
is without any of those. We might get another veteran off of somewhere else, on some lower deals or whatever. But I mean, the ones that are tied to like knowing kind of what Pop wants to do through Rudy, and obviously much more through Patty, and then more of just the big name consummate professional knows
Yeah.
exactly what the game is about when it comes to DeMar, like that kind of stuff. So
And
it's
so
just a crazy time, man. Interesting time for
yeah,
us.
for sure, for sure. And that's exactly why I'm like, well, eventually DJ's got to be that guy. Like DJ or Derek or whatever, like eventually we have to start getting those guys in there. And it's like one of the things for me is like, next year if Patty comes back and he's more player coach than he is player, then I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. That's cool. That's great. I love to see it. But it's like, I feel like we just can't hold on to those guys all the time. We can't let them just be like, on their last leg and we're still hanging on to them like, hey, we need we need you to still be here. And it's like, and if somebody tells me, oh, well, Patty's not like that, well, then we don't need Patty on the team like that. You know what I mean? Like, because our team's already kind of moving up forward with the different leadership kind of stuff. And it's like, and I'm not saying like, oh, I don't want Patty on my team, right? I'm just saying like at that point, if you're trying to argue with me that, Patty's leadership is so valuable and this is why you pay him to stay here and be your player coach, well, then at that point, when are we going to start saying, well, now we need DJ to be the leader because we still have Patty here paying him this amount of money to be our leader, but DJ
Yeah.
still
Well,
kind
I
of
mean,
moving forward,
let's just say real quick, like let's say we were to extend like sign Patty to a new deal for this next year, like you would know big time just off of the numbers like where his role's gonna be at. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure, for sure. And if
So,
we're paying him closer on the minimum bet kind of stuff, then yeah, for sure. It's like player coach, you're glad you bought in, glad we're gonna keep you for the rest of your career and you're gonna retire a Spur. But
but
then,
I mean, with
six
Patty being
million
30, with Patty being 32, I could see him getting a 2 to 3 year deal with somebody else for more. You know what I mean? Ru-
exactly. And that's why
Rudy's 34. I mean, man, I love Rudy Gay. Rudy looks
I
so
just
good
don't think
today.
I just don't think he did look good. I just don't think it's that big of a detriment if Pat leaves or if Rudy leaves or in
Mhm.
terms of leadership because those guys like we've had them for years and we've had DJ in the system, we've had Derek in the system, we've had Lonnie in the system for
Yeah,
years.
you are right. You are right. I
Again,
mean, it's crazy to think when you think back to the Zaza Kawhi injury, like when Kawhi takes a shot and he falls down and he's grabbing his ankle. It's like literally
mhm,
just like little baby DJ like sitting on the bench watching him. Like we've had, like you said,
exactly.
we've had DJ around for a while. We've had
And
Derek around for a while. Yeah, you are you're definitely making me feel more excited to give them like
mhm,
the reins when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, like everybody now needs to be looking to you guys as to like how you want this team to operate, how you come to
exactly.
the office day in and day out is going to be how everybody else follows in line. Like that I'm excited for that.
For sure. And I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it to happen. It's like, like I said, I've like I started watching Spurs basketball around 2014 into like the 2016 area, right?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and so I saw DJ as a rookie. I've been watching DJ as a rookie grow, and we've all seen DJ as a rookie grow. So it's like, well, now DJ is this guy. He's that guy that's just doing his thing out there, and it's like, well, I'm ready for him to just take the keys and be the driver. Like he doesn't have to be the best player on the team, but he's been here the longest. He's been here the guy who should know the ins and outs of the Spurs. Maybe not completely like a guy like Patty would, but he's definitely been here long enough to say, guys, this is what we got to do. This is what our future is going to look like. This is how we need to start coming into practice like this because I'm here. I've been here long enough, and y'all should just start, falling in line with what I'm telling you kind of stuff, right? And I'm sure most of the guys have already started to do that. So once I see Patty kind of get ready to walk out, once I see Rudy to walk out, once I get ready to see DeMar walk out, the leadership is not what I'm worried about. I think I'm mainly more worried about the output of our guys. But that's just because we're young. That's just because I don't think we're at that stage yet to where everybody's ready to compete. Maybe in a year or two, maybe after next season, then we'll be like, all right, we've seen Devin play for 2 years. We've seen Lonnie fill in his role for 2 years. We've seen Derek hopefully be healthy for 2 straight years. You know what I mean? Like, then it's like, all right,
Yeah,
now we're old enough.
we're gonna need to, man, because that dude's on the books, man.
And so it's like, that. I feel like that's just like what the Spurs future should be. It shouldn't be, let's keep Patty to be our leader as a third string guy if he's still good enough to be a point guard on some other team. Like that's just the sense for me.
And to be honest, Pop is probably going to be like that too. Like he's always been that kind of coach to say, hey, if they're going to offer you this money, you should go get it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I had said it earlier with that group of people I was talking to. I was like, well, I feel like the same thing that we did with Boban will be the same thing we do with Patty. Obviously, to a different extent, because Patty been here for so long, and it'll be a little bit more heartbreaking. Boban was only here for so long with us, and then we just told him, hey, go get that bag, go do your thing. You know what I mean?
And man, you know what? I mean, who knows, man? Maybe he goes and signs a 2-year deal and comes back to San Antonio as like a 35-year-old vet minimum player coach, shooting the spot up 3. He comes back as like the Steve Kerr, 2003 or whatever.
I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. Like Patty didn't start his career as a Spur, and I understand that like you could probably be like, oh, well, he did definitely start becoming a player, an NBA caliber player as a Spur. And I get that, but he didn't start his career as a Spur. I don't think there's any harm in seeing Patty go somewhere else to go compete and then coming back. You know what I mean? Doing his either, whether that's, signing his 1-day contract to just retire as a Spur, or actually signing for the year and being as our vet, I don't think there's anything wrong with any of those scenarios.
Yeah, and I do love just like staring at the payroll, because that's like I like watching their timelines kind of come and go, and you can kind of easily see where everybody's lining up. So it is crazy to see what differences our roster can and will have, leading into next year. But let's kind of before we get ahead, I didn't want to get ahead of wrapping the season up and thinking about it and talking about it, and just go straight to the play-in, because I did want to give, like I said, this could be the last time that we saw DeMar play in San Antonio. It could be the last time for Patty and Rudy. I'm glad that Rudy had a good game in his last, if it's going to be his last stint here, at least playing at home. But let's kind of move forward to give our current roster, their final test, right, that we got in front of us. So I mean, we knew going in before today even started, we knew that we were locked in at 10. We knew that that this last game didn't matter to us, but we were just waiting to see right on Memphis and Golden State. So I don't have the total. I have it right here actually. The final was 113-101. Golden State beat Memphis. So you got a chance to watch some of that. This is our opponent now. We got Memphis, right? We knew it was going to be one of the two. Now we know. So I don't know. What are you looking at? How are you feeling about it? Like, let's just jump in.
We dodged a bullet. We dodged a bullet in not having to play against the Warriors. Not gonna lie. I watched that. Like I said, like you said, I watched the game. And there's 2 things that I saw out of it. One, if Steph Curry's on it, you're not winning the ball game. You're not winning the ball game. Like, that guy is just that good. And it's crazy because the first 2 quarters, or I didn't get to see the first quarter, but the second quarter, like Steph just wasn't really, like, he was playing a little passive. He wasn't making a couple of shots, whatever. And I see that they were like Steph's not hitting his shots, and they're kind of the Grizzlies are keeping up with the Warriors at that point, right? Third quarter comes in, Steph starts hitting his shots. Bam, it's kind of over at that point. You just start seeing Steph take over the game, and the Warriors are winning. They're just clowning on the Grizzlies, man. And so then my second point is that if Ja Morant's not hitting his shots, the Grizzlies kind of suck. Like they kind of suck. They're not a good ball club whenever Ja's not hitting his shots. And
Yeah, he went 7 for 21 and 1 for 6 from the 3-point line.
So I saw, like, I was watching the game, and I'd have to assume that the reason why they suck, because they have talented people. You hear like Brandon Clark's pretty good. Jaren Jackson Jr. is coming off an injury, but he's still gonna bring out some type of output. Jonas Valanciunas is good. Dylan Brooks brings something to the table every night. Like they have a couple guys that do things for them. That's not bad. But I think Ja just has the ball in his hands a little too much, and so then he's not hitting his shots. Well, like he still wants the ball in his hands to try and do something about it.
Yeah.
Then I looked at his defense. That guy's just not that good defensively yet. Like, he's athletic, but he's not defensive. And so you just see him watching the ball too much. He gets cuts, and like, he's just not like paying attention. He's not there all the way on the defense. So then when he's not there on both ends, that's your best player on the court, not doing good on both ends. Well, it's very easy for you to say, all right, we're just going to handle business. We're going to take care of the Grizzlies. And so for us, honestly, I had said it earlier in the year, especially when we won against the Grizzlies and Ja put up 43. I was like, let Ja put up his 40s and we'll still beat them. But now I'm more on like, well, we got a game plan against Ja. We got to make sure Ja is shooting the ball and not making it. We got to make sure that he is taking the worst shots that he can take, because he wants to take those shots.
So I saw some videos on Twitter of people. I mean, it was mainly like a few, and I wish I would have thought ahead to pull them up. But like talking about like how it looked like Golden State was just letting him shoot him, right? Like, giving him a lot of open looks.
Threes. They were letting him shoot.
So like, when you're saying, we have to give him the worst shot possible. Like, are you comfortable with just giving him any kind of three? Like, are there certain things that you don't want to just let him, like, you personally, when you think about his game or whatever?
I don't like to let him get threes, especially if he's in a rhythm. If he's in a rhythm, he starts to make those threes, and it's not that pretty for us. But if he has a couple wide open threes, I'm not telling any of my guys to jump from the paint to the 3-point line to try to contest that shot.
Well, I mean, we've definitely had our issues defending the three, right? So the idea of him getting good looks are, you could see it coming, right? I would say if we can, I would combat it by just saying, if we can make sure we feel very solid on the interior, to make him feel like he has to be outside a little bit more than normal,
or even
would be a good start. Yeah. Well, I mean, for sure. I mean, I'm just trying to think of, like, I too would like to keep him away from the rim as much as possible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, go ahead.
He there are a couple times in that third quarter when he went for layups, and he just took like the most acrobatic layup ever, and it airballed. Like, it was in a pretty shot. So it was just like, well, I'm okay with that too. If I see Jakob in the paint and I see Ja go up against Jakob, and Jakob just puts himself in the right position to where Ja has to change the direction of the ball, that's a good play. That's a fine play. If the ball goes in there, I'm not mad. Like, it is what it is. But if I see Ja take something whack and it just like kind of, like it just goes like somewhere else, I'm like, oh, well, good defensive play. Let's keep the ball rolling, right? They're going to be tough. They're going to be fighting strong. They like I was saying before the pod, like they are like, it's crazy how they went from the 2010s grit and grind with Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, Zach Randolph, Tony Allen. They went from that to an exact replica of grit and grind, man. Like they just fight. Jonas, I feel like Jonas just loves to just try to beat up on the little guys, and Kyle is Kyle, and Kyle has like that little bit of finesse, but he's still just bigger than everybody. And then Dylan Brooks, I'm sure you've heard everything about Dylan Brooks. He is the trash talker of the NBA. So it's like, I just I it's gonna be a tough matchup, but I think today's game literally showed the way that we could beat them, and that is just let John Morant try to shoot as much as he can without letting him get in a rhythm. If he gets in a rhythm, then you have to try and beat the rest of the guys. You can't let Dylan Brooks get easy shots. Can't let Grayson Allen or Kyle get any shots. You know, but if you keep John Morant out of rhythm, I don't think there's anybody to keep up with that input, because
Yeah.
at the moment I think that's what they're trying to rely on is the output of John Morant. So
I mean, okay. So just to kind of break it down real quick, 14 and 7 for Jaren Jackson today, 10 and 5 from Kyle Anderson, 29 points, 16 rebounds for Valanciunas. So Valanciunas got his, he got his due in the paint for sure. I mean, I wonder, did the Warriors start the rookie? Is he back in or no?
I have no idea if
Uh,
James Wiseman's back in, and even
no,
then,
I don't know. So they had Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney. It probably was just Looney and Draymond most of the night, and then I guess yeah, because they only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They had an 8-man rotation. So does Juan Toscano Anderson play forward for them? What does he play?
yeah, he's just like that 3-4 guy. He's not
Yeah. So
he's not a
and
center.
then they had Jordan Poole and Michael Mulder. Um,
Yeah,
Damn,
see, so
they were pretty thin. They were pretty
so
thin.
you see how I mean, like Jonas, of course he's gonna get a good
Oh,
solid
let
season.
me finish real quick. Let me finish. Sorry. John Morant had 16, 9 assists. And then Dylan Brooks had 18. Desmond Bain had 8. So it was they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had 5 people in double figures. And with Valanciunas had 30, and that it was a competitive game. Like it's a 12-point game. They did get blitzed in the third by 11 points right there, like you were saying. And then outscored in the fourth by by 5. I don't know how close it was, coming into the crunch time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, go ahead, keep going.
So I mean, yeah, like you hear that Valanciunas has like a season night, right? Like he has like a solid little night, and that's good. I don't think he's gonna get 30 against Jakob. I think if Jakob can stay out of foul trouble, we'll be fine. I think
Oy.
I think Yak is gonna be like a factor against Jonas, obviously, but I'm also not super scared of Jonas Valanciunas.
But I would put a big fat X factor on Jakob by saying about his foul trouble,
yeah, he needs to not be in foul
because
trouble. Yeah, for sure.
but specifically because Jean Morant likes to run at the rim,
Mm-hmm.
which puts Valanciunas in a better spot to get a bad position on Yak, and you know what I mean. Like it could be a very bad problem for us. And on top of that, like thinking back to I think it was when we played Portland, like Nurkic, man, like we've seen a couple times this year where centers decide to be very aggressive against Jakob, and he just feels a little bit more like he's just conceding a little bit too much, you know what I mean? Or just I don't know. People like to go at him,
Yeah,
and they sometimes they find some good success going right at Jakob as a center. So that's what between John Morant attacking the rim and between you had said like Valanciunas likes to bang, he likes to be more physical, he likes that kind of play. So I am a little bit afraid, or I am a little bit concerned, and I do want to I want that to be a solid piece for us, because that is a part that could go real bad. You know what I mean?
for sure, for sure.
A game where Jakob is out of the game because of foul trouble. A game where Jakob is I guess. Oh, I mean, I guess that would be the biggest thing. But just we would be toast. We would be
Mhm.
toast.
I'd say this game. I don't know if you've been kind of seeing it, but for me, I always kind of see like I think we do play a little more positionally when we have depending on who we're going against and deciding who's our backup center for the night. I think
Mm-hmm.
whoever we're going against, we kind of decide, oh, we need a little bit more springy athleticness. We'll put Drew in there. Or all right, we need a little bit more skill. We'll get Gorgie out there, a little bit more stretch bigness out there from Gorgie, or versatility, right? I think that's a big word that I hear a lot about Gorgie, comparatively to Drew. And
Yeah, because you can
I
shoot a
think
little bit more.
I think this game we'll see a Jakob Drew combination, because if Jakob gets put into foul trouble, we're gonna need Drew to step in and be another big presence. Um,
Yeah, I
But
mean,
then,
like that's what scares me, man. I mean, I would not be surprised. God, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a stretch or if I mean, regardless, but like to have Jaren Jackson Jr., they just have the option. Imagine if they had Jaren Jackson Jr. and Valanciunas. I mean, do they start together? Is Jackson already in their starting lineup?
I'd assume Jackson's
I mean,
in their
I
starting
mean that's
lineup.
just that's big. Like who are you starting at the 4?
Keldon against Jaren Jackson, like, ooh, that's a little scary. And then they have Brandon Clark in there as well to be their backup. Like, that's a bit
Yeah.
of a toughie right there.
I mean, okay. We picked up was it a guard or was it a forward? We picked up a forward, right?
Yeah, forward. His name is Daquan Jeffries.
Let me
You gonna look him up real quick.
I just
While
want to
you're
see
doing that,
what his like build is. Is he on our is it
I feel like
it says 6'5", 6'5", 230. I mean, he's probably just a body for sure.
I was about to say he's just a body in case we get too many injuries
And
because we already have Derek.
they have him as a guard.
So he's probably a 2-3 mix,
Yeah.
not a
Okay.
4.
So I mean,
No
with no
size coming out of
Luca,
him.
I mean, I don't know. Are we getting Trey back? No, heck no. So
No,
we
Trey's done for
are
the season.
I mean, we're just so thin, you know what I mean? So
It's mainly that bigger forward position, man. It's like that just because Trey and Luke are out, all we have is Keldon to Keldon and Rudy right there. Like, and Keldon
yeah.
shouldn't even be in the bigger forward position. He should just be
See,
playing at the smaller forward.
I would say to be honest, I would think about in this context, I would think about you having your big man stable being Rudy Gay, Gorgie, Drew Eubanks, Jakob. Like those are your 4 bigs that you have at your disposal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else. You know what I mean? That's all we got. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you start Rudy Gay at the 4?
I would love so I'm gonna go into one of the things that Juan had been talking about because Juan hasn't been on to talk about it, and so then I'm just gonna kind of elaborate on what he says, right? He said that he wants Rudy to start. He said he would much rather see Rudy start just because of what we've been seeing from Keldon lately, and he feels like Keldon in a diminished role on the bench would be so much better than this starting Keldon that we got right now. We think that, like he says that one of the things is that like the spacing on the floor. If we have Rudy out there, he'll be able to shoot a little bit better than Keldon does. And sometimes having DeMar, DeJounte, and Keldon, 3 guys who just don't shoot the ball, as well as Jakob, like having 4 guys out there on the court at the same time, like it doesn't create enough spacing. So when you have Rudy Gay out there instead of Keldon, you're able to move the ball around a little bit more because you have Rudy out there to just sit on that
and like I said, if you think about your stable of bigs being Jakob and Gorgie, Drew and Rudy, it's like okay. I mean, you're gonna be kind of small at the 4, but like nobody else is. I mean, Gorgie will shoot the 3. It's like in my opinion, yeah, it was like okay, Jakob is gonna have to start at the center. Do you put if you want Drew Eubanks as the backup center, then it's like, okay, I don't know. Yeah, I think that might be the way to go. I mean, I don't think that that's how they're. I don't know.
I don't think that's how they're gonna do it. Just because they haven't done it.
You're probably gonna see Keldon start at the 4, and it's just gonna give me a heart attack like from minute 1. Because I mean, look, we saw not this first game, but not this second game, but the first game against Memphis, the one that we went to, like. They made a concerted effort with us not having Jakob Perlin to play. They made a concerted effort to go through Saric at times and to go through Kaminsky, right? Is his last name Kaminsky? Right?
Yeah.
And those are not those. Go ahead.
You had just said Memphis, and we had gone to the Phoenix game.
Oh, Phoenix. Sorry. Yeah. The Phoenix game. They made it a point to go through Saric and to go through Kaminsky, and those are not big name big men, but
in the paint type of big man. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
what you're saying.
but I mean, well, like I guess like they're not the ones that you would automatically think to like run your offense through, and they weren't like dumping the ball down to them and saying, okay, everybody get out of the way. I mean, they were like putting them in pick and rolls, with their guards and all that kind of stuff, but they were running their offense through the big man position, you know what I mean, with a guard, and so like, I don't know. I could see that being in their game plan of like, if they start Keldon, our very first play we're gonna do is go to the middle, and then the
Hmm.
next play we're gonna go to the middle, and the next play we're gonna go to the middle. Like I could see it happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because that's
for
just,
sure.
that's how the postseason is, man. It slows
But
down, it gets bigger, in my opinion.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
at,
yeah,
at
for
least the
sure.
best teams do.
But I think watching Golden State and you telling me that they had Kevon Looney as their only center really, and then Draymond to probably play some 5 minutes, right?
And they came out with the win, right?
And they came out with the
It
win. I'm
wasn't
like,
it wasn't unbearable.
yep.
I mean, they gave up 29, so it's not like,
And
you know,
and I get
uh,
like I get, you got Steph Curry on your team. We don't got a Steph Curry on our team. Like I get that. But it's still like they got to win out of that. They got to win
yeah,
and
yeah.
one of the lineups that I saw out there was for the Memphis Grizzlies. It was John Morant, DeAnthony Melton, Desmond Bain, um, Brandon Clark, and Jonas, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, like you could look it up. If I'm not mistaken, Desmond Bain, DeAnthony Melton, and John Morant are all 6'3" and below. If Desmond Bain's taller, go ahead and like he might be like 6'4", 6'5" maybe. That's three small guys, guards in my opinion. I know Bain's a little bit stronger, like a honestly kind of like a Kel Johnson, but he's got a little bit more of a three ball on him and less defense in my opinion. Um, but like, dude, like they are all three of them small guard type of archetypes on the court at the exact same time. That means that they don't want to use their size against us that much. You know what I mean? You're playing against
Well,
the
I
Warriors. You
mean,
could
I
use your
mean,
size. You could use more size. You could use a Kyle Anderson out there instead of Desmond Bain and create more size, create more opportunities with your size, but they don't. They don't game plan like that. So at that point,
Desmond
sometimes
Bain listed at 6'5".
six
Who are the
five,
other
right?
ones? Who are the other ones that you said? The
Anthony Melton and Ja.
Mountain. Where the heck is Mountain?
And so that's what I'm saying though. Like they just didn't have the size out there, and it's like, well, I understand like we can worry about the size. We can because they have it on their team. But should we be worrying about the size that much?
I mean,
Because
we'll see. I mean, like you said, yeah, it's like what we've actually seen on the court is that they don't always go that route. Uh,
mm-hmm,
um, but I guess I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they keep doing with what they try to do what they've been doing, or do they say, okay, let's see what we can bring out of our bag for this last game, because I mean
mm-hmm,
that's what sometimes people they save kind of plays or schemes or whatever, or maybe they look ahead and they say, okay, this is our opponent, San Antonio. Where can we attack them? And maybe they come to that conclusion, or maybe they don't.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Melton is at 6'2", listed at 6'2", and Ja at 6'3". So yeah, I get what you're saying. And that would help us, man. If they're not going to go big, if they're I mean, if they're going to go Jackson and Valanciunas kind of always having one of them on the court, that still bothers me a little bit, because I mean, in my hope is that we would have somebody like a Jakob to be out there for 48 minutes to guard that
Mm-hmm,
guy,
for
the
sure,
whole
for
time.
sure.
So I mean, now that does kind of scare me though, because I mean, we've seen Jackson specifically go off against the Spurs before, and so to think about him going out against like our bench unit, you know what I mean? And it's like, I think he would be capable of like having a pretty big night for them. And if anybody unexpected kind of comes along for the ride, you're like, dang man, that's just like points that we can't be giving up. You know what I mean?
For sure, for sure.
So I mean, we'll see how we match up against that size, I guess. But you are correct. You had mentioned something earlier when you said like the Golden State Warriors, they do have Steph and we don't have Steph. But if we're thinking about like how can we beat them, we are going to have good shooting. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We're gonna have to be knocking the ball down, man. I mean, especially if we're talking about giving up some opportunities of some shots, maybe possibly or whatever, like hoping that they're taking the jump shots versus attacking the rim. Like we're gonna have to making our jump shots, and to be honest, they're probably gonna have the same game plan as us. They're probably gonna be like, the Spurs don't shoot threes. The Spurs aren't a good 3-point shooting team. We're gonna prefer them shoot those shots than to come inside. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We're gonna hold it down in the paint with Jackson and with Valanciunas. You know what I mean? So, I mean, who's gonna make their outside jumpers? I guess, right?
Yeah, I know, and I think like that's the thing that like it's like, it's gonna be a wild card against this Grizzlies. It's definitely gonna be like, are we gonna see a Ja Morant that's on it tonight, or are we gonna see Ja Morant that's in a slump? You know, are we gonna be able to see Jaren Jackson Jr. of old, or is he still gonna kind of be coming back from his injury and still be a little bit slower than usual? You know?
Yeah. Are we gonna get Alani that's on a slump, or Alani that's you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's we're I
And I'm
mean
not gonna lie,
which makes sense. We're all
yeah.
in the ninth, 10, we're all down at the bottom of the West. This is just the kind of inconsistencies that you see on these teams. So it's
Mhm.
fun though. I'll tell you, man. My overall like just opinion on us being in the position that we're in. It's like, you give us a shot to just get thrown into a game 7 with Memphis. Hell yeah, that's fun, man. That is so
Mhm.
fun.
Heck yeah.
And then if you win, you get thrown into another game 7 against this, the Warriors or the Blazers or the Lakers. Like,
For
well,
sure.
if thinking about this whole season and all that kind of stuff, if we can come out and play and try to put on some good things together, and even if we were to win against Memphis and lose in the second game, I mean, I think I would call that a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of just like
That
experience for our guys and all that kind of stuff.
I feel like that's kind of, I guess, a kind of best case scenario for me in that sense.
Would not be making the playoffs.
Well, I don't think I just don't think that's like making I don't know. I'm just not like I've already said it. Like I just don't think making the playoffs. I don't think it really matters this year for us. Like
But
we just
like
if we especially because we're not making the 7th seed at all. We don't get a chance to make the 7th seed, right? We're only
yeah.
gonna be an 8th seed if we get in. So that means that we're going against the freaking Jazz. The Jazz who washed us 2 games straight, dog. Like 2 freaking wipes. And it's just like, man, without Donovan Mitchell, without Mike Conley, they did that to us.
Yeah, but
I
what a
I'm
better way to see what you are up against. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
but
Right before you go into the summer, you
I'm
get a
more
chance to see
terrified.
that kind of ball for
Yeah,
4 games
yeah,
straight,
yeah.
up
Yeah,
close and personal.
I
You know what
get
I
that.
mean?
I get that. And I mean, like that's good experience. It's really good experience for our young guys. But I think if we get knocked out, we're still having that same record, and it still puts us in lottery. It still gives us like a 10-9 pick type situation instead of if
Yeah.
we make it to the 8th seed. I don't really know how records are going to work too well, but that puts us like 14, 15 because we're the 8th seed instead of the 10th seed. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's 4 or 5 picks. That's 5 picks that can make us have a really a player that we're sure we're going to be, moving forward. This guy's going to be great coming with us, or a 15th pick that we're like, all right, this is a little less likely. Like I think that can change
This
a whole
is
lot.
gonna be crazy, man. I don't want to look past Memphis. But it's gonna be crazy because I have been asking this question hypothetically all freaking year long about uh just Spurs fans in general, which is like, would you root for your team to lose if it came down to it, right? Like when it comes down to draft picks versus seedings versus, like, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because I mean, there's so many people that fall into what you just said right now, which is 2 games of play in experience, and a good pick, a higher pick, is more valuable to them than 6 games of play of 2 play-in games and 4 at the minimum for playoff games. Like they would rather have the other one, right? The first one. So it'll be interesting because if we beat Memphis, then we get put in that position, which is okay. There's 1 game You
Right.
win, you're in. You lose, you're over here. You
And
as a fan, are you rooting for us to lose on this day, on
and
this Game 7 type day? Are you asking, are you hoping that we don't win?
I think on my side, I'm more personally like, well, and I told you, like I said, I watched that Warriors game and I was like, oh my god, Steph Curry, he's crazy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I know what
And
you're gonna say. You're gonna say that you feel comfortable in saying that there's no way that we're gonna win that second game.
when that, yeah,
But
exactly.
that is not the question that I'm asking. The
Yeah,
question
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
asking is, are you hoping that we
Okay.
lose? Are
Yeah, and
you, you know what I'm saying?
and
Would you
and
rather see us lose? And
it,
that's what I'm trying to say
it's hard.
is
It's hard.
interesting, because I think that a lot of people are going to be just like you, and they're going to say, they're
Or
going
we
to
don't
put
even
that,
have a
they're
chance
going to
to
say
win.
like, well, we're not going to win that game. I just when like, when you put it in front of us, Lakers or Warriors, we're not going to win. And it's like, okay, I know, I get all of that. My thing is like, though, when the tip off goes, are you suiting up to win? You as the fan, are you like, let's freaking go, or are you like, like, I don't know, that, like that.
I because
That's what
you
I'm
never
asking.
you never root against your team. You never root against your team to lose. You know what I mean? You never say, "All right, San Antonio, let's go lose this game." But you don't like. I mean, you don't get mad when you lose that game, and I think that's the thing for me. I'm not gonna get mad if we win. If we win, I'm like, "Let's go, we won. We won a game. We're in the playoffs." If we lose, I'm like, "All right, we got a draft. We got a draft pick." You know what I mean?
I definitely will fall into that line. I'm not going to be. I mean, I want us to beat Memphis, and but I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad because I feel like we did. I'm not going to be mad if we try hard to win the game and we lose the game. That, because
Mhm.
you lose games. That's just what happens. I am going to be a little mad if we lay an egg and lose the game. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Uh, um, but overall, like, if we lose, I won't be mad. But I'm curious to think about that next game, because I know where I stand on that kind of stuff, and I also know that there's a lot of Spurs fans who just kind of like, I think that they haven't really looked at it like that yet. And if they did,
Mhm.
they'd be like, "Oh, damn, I want our team to lose." And some of them might just proudly say, like, "Yeah, I want our team to lose," because they want the draft pick. You know what I mean? And that's fine. As a basketball fan, as a sports fan, you have the right to be whatever kind of fan you want to be. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's just interesting. All of the things that are kind of coming up on the basketball court, off the basketball court. There's just a lot of like, it's a crazy time for the organization. We've gone through so many years of like stability, and even on years where we have a first round exit or whatever, there, like, we understand that where like minor tweaks can be made, and then those things usually happen, and then there's like, usually when the Spurs, like in the past 20 years, if there's been a dip, there's been some kind of upswing too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's crazy that like
Yeah,
all
you
these
can't.
all these new things are hitting us all at once. So it's kind of it's fun.
For sure, for sure. Like I mean, I think this is a point in the Spurs life cycle right now, or at least like in recent Spurs life cycles. Like you said, I feel like you see when the Spurs are slowly climbing, we take a small dip and then we move up even further.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is a point to where you're not slowly climbing up and you're not slowly climbing down. You're either going up or you're going down, or you're going up or you're going down. And it's like sharp, freaking long. Stints of like we're bad or we're really good. And so it's just like very hard to be like, be consistent in how you feel about this team, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm thinking a little bit more big picture. You know what I mean? Versus like how we've played this year. I mean, yeah, we've been really inconsistent this year. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just fun. It's fun. It's fun to think about. I do think that we got what it takes. I mean, I'm excited for it, man.
Me
As
too.
far as I'm concerned, and it's cool. It's cool because it's like, okay, this is technically like the second ever play-in games, right? Because last year there was the smaller amount, but they had like their play-in games, and now we're in like the second one. So it's like, for the first time in our franchise history, we've qualified for the play-in game. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's a different thing that the NBA is trying this year. So it's cool that we are part of like the history of, just the craziness that is this season. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Hey, Unc, how you doing? So yeah, it's fun. I'm glad that we're a part of it, man. As a Spurs fan, I would much rather be gearing up for a Wednesday game against Memphis than today being the last day of the season for us.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I think we'll pull it out. We'll see. You know, we'll see how it goes, and we'll know a little bit more in 30 minutes is when we start that the Lakers game, the Blazers, and all that. So I don't know. I don't know if you're planning on watching any of the games tonight, but I'll definitely be checking out that Lakers game.
Hey
Seeing, you
man,
know.
I am a Spurs fan first, but I am also a basketball fan, and
Oh
I
heck yeah, yeah.
love my basketball.
And
So
it's the last game of the regular season, man. And
heck yeah,
this
man.
is so exciting to me how much people are playing for right now, like all day long, man. And
I
I didn't get a chance.
know.
I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the early games because I was
Like
out of the house and stuff. But like seeing, and it was like, okay, Russell Westbrook, the Wizards and the Hornets, right? Or the Wizards and the whoever the
it was
Wizard
the
plays.
Wizards against the Pacers, maybe, but it literally
Whoever won
changed.
got. Oh no, it was the Hornets because it was whoever won got the 8th seed, and the Wizards won and are in the 8th seed. The
Mhm.
Hornets fell to the 9th seed. So I mean, like, man, I just a lot of great stuff to watch. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's why like I'm so happy about this play-in. I feel like the next step for me in this league in terms of making the regular season more exciting is getting rid of conferences. You can keep divisions. I think you can keep divisions and still be okay. You know, when we play Memphis four times a year and all that kind of stuff, and play your specific division four times each team, right? Like that, I think that's okay. But if you get rid of conferences and you make it 1 through 16, then you get more competitiveness. You get, you want these West teams to be winning more. You want these East teams to be competing more and getting better, because if they're not
Do
better, they're not in the
you
playoffs.
do
You know what
you
I mean?
let's say you do top 16. If you do top 16, are you doing sorry, what am I trying to say? Are you doing the play-in still, like 7, 8, 9, 10? So now you're taking like the bottom 8.
Like
You
that
get
bottom,
do you
the
get what I'm
last
saying?
20, like it's like
So right
17,
now
18, 19, 20, or
so right
16,
now 6
16.
teams are safe in each conference. So that would be 12. So 12 teams are safe. Are you keeping that the same? 12 would be safe, and 13 through 16, right? Or 13 through, dang, what am I
I
trying to
think
say?
I think what you could do is instead of having like the four like that, like what you're saying, because you'd
Mhm.
have two in each conference, you can still do 17, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Instead of doing, because what you're saying, like you're kind of right in having like the,
I was just doubling everything and trying to
yeah,
see, like, is that how you would have it? But I get what you're saying.
I would change it to just 15, 16, 17, 18 as those teams fighting for the play-in.
Yeah. But, I mean, the only difference that I can think about is it's because it's split. It's because it's split though that you're getting this much. I think that if you had 1 through 16 and only had that bottom play in, you would get a lot less people playing for things at the end of the year, because like right now, like we had an 8-9,
Right, 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 right.
8-9 game that was decided today in the East. We had an 8-9 game that was decided in the West on the same day. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you would get less of that, and that's why I was saying if you double it, you're having more play-in games basically, because
Mhm.
you got to keep the middle of the pack on their toes, so to speak. So if you raise that play-in floor, that's how you're getting closer and closer to that
Yeah,
middle of the pack. You
for
know what I'm
sure.
saying?
And
So
either way, I want to see the league start changing things to make it more competitive. I'm ready to see more competitive regular season games, and I I can understand the frustrations this year with the playing game because you've been injured all year. You know what I mean? Like if you have injuries and all that kind of stuff, it's the reason why the Lakers are in the seventh seed to begin with. If LeBron and AD are healthy, they're not the seventh seed. They're probably more 4, 5, 6. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But next year, when we have a full 82 game season and everything's fresh, everything's fine, I want this playing game to stay because it is a great way to keep those teams, to reward those teams that are at the top, and to keep those teams in the middle fighting. You know, it's like I feel like it's just perfect.
yeah. I mean, and we talked about this last week. It will be interesting though because of the CBA and players unions and all
Hmm.
that. Because I mean, obviously, making them have to compete harder, dips into the rest time, dips into the, you know what I mean? Like how they
Mhm.
how this league has been gearing itself towards the load management kind of things, and how players are very cognizant about their schedules of their bodies and all that kind of stuff. So it would be an adjustment for them because they would have to readjust again, you know what I mean? Because they still want to get their rest in, but now they have to take into account, you know, the detriment that they're putting their teams into more and more, because if they're out and they lose, it starts to mean more, like you're saying, you know what I mean? So it will
Mhm.
be interesting to see how that kind of stuff goes. Because I mean, the players do have a leg to stand on by saying, like, when I'm healthy, I'm able to provide a better product for you, the owners. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like they have a leg to stand on for sure. And so like you know, we'll see how that goes. I'm with you though. If they could find a way, I mean, you know, they're the ones that got to get in the room and make those billion-dollar decisions. But if they can make a way to keep a play-in style thing in, I don't think that they would do away with conferences, at least not yet, or at least
Right.
not all together. You know what I mean? I think it would come
Right.
like in phases or whatever. But I mean, I think, yeah, if they could keep the play-in or keep away to keep these middle of the pack teams, you know, on their heels. And plus, like, you know, everybody always says about like how it's like the worst to be like right in the middle, but like it makes it feel like it's not just not like you're in the worst position to be fighting for like a 5 through 8 seed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you feel like you still got a shot when you're in kind of those positions or whatever. In my
For
opinion,
sure.
I don't know.
For sure.
You know, some people might not feel like that because they might feel like, well, it really is just if you're above the play-in line, those are the only teams that have a legit shot. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But all it would take is a play-in team to a team that started in like the 8, 9, 10 to go through a play-in tournament and win a playoff series before you're like, okay, you're like, you know, it can happen. It's possible.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Or even
Well,
just, yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
since we're kind of I feel like we're kind of getting on the downhill. I think personally I'm getting ready to go watch these games in a little bit. I know my
Yeah.
family's going to pick up some food. Um, I think the last thing that I kind of wanted to ask, because I've been kind of going around asking this a little bit, um, and I'm gonna try to word it as best as I can so that it's not like, you know, oh, you're just rooting for other teams. But hypothetically, Spurs aren't in the playoffs, right? Hypothetically, um, what team would you hate the least to win? Like, you know, obviously
The
you,
To win the whole thing?
yeah, like what team would you say like, okay, this team won, whatever.
If it, I mean, if I'm being honest, if Utah, because Utah's the number 1 seed, they've been the number 1 seed for most of this whole year, or at least a top 2 seed for this most of this whole year. And the Suns for that matter too. But like, if Utah could go and win it, like that would not bother me at all, especially because I mean, how many people have not really like feared the Jazz for some reason?
Mhm.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure, for
Like,
sure.
or just in the way that they kind of talk about them, right? Or just in the context of the playoffs, it's almost like they have a shelf life for the Jazz. Like, I give them all the respect, but and I guess some of it's kind of earned because it's like, all right, you got to show me, right? You got to show me that you can win a Western Conference Finals or whatever. So some of that is warranted, but like if the Jazz went on to win it, I wouldn't be mad. Um, I know that like, man, that like the Nuggets have been, you know, I wanted to hate them for sure when, especially after when they beat us in 2018, uh, um, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I love watching Jokic play. He would be my MVP if I had a vote. And so if he went on, you know, an MVP level playoff run that took him to the NBA Finals, that would not bother me, not one bit. And then if I'm in the East, there's not really any teams that I wouldn't want to win from the East. Probably just Brooklyn. If any other team made it to the finals and won and did any kind of damage, you're not going to get any pushback from me. I mean, maybe Philly. No, I mean, I don't, if Philly, you know, trust the process, man. If they finally got it done and with some form of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, you
Right.
know,
Right.
and because I'm like you, man. Like, I'm a Spurs fan, but I love to watch the NBA. You know what I mean? I love to just
Mhm.
see where everybody's rise and fall, because when you watch everybody's rise and fall, it makes you feel like it makes you feel better about your team, just because you know that every team goes through all of these things.
Mhm.
Some of them are really, really good, some of them are really bad, and some are right in the middle. But you know that everybody's going through it at over the course of one season, of 5, of 10 seasons. You know what I mean? So I'm a fan of it all. I wouldn't want the Nets to win. I would not want the Clippers to win. And if I had I stopped hating on LeBron a long time ago, but LeBron got his one ring in LA. He doesn't have to win anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
He does. They don't need to win anymore either.
Uh-huh.
So Lakers and Clippers are out. Lakers and Clippers are out, and the Nets are out, which is probably the obvious choice for
Yeah.
most people. But kudos to the NBA, for having a lot of people who, other than those big super teams, are probably okay with a lot of all those other teams doing well and winning. You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure. So to go to your MVP thing, you said Jokic would be your vote personally. Steph would be mine. If the Warriors are not an 8th seed and they're like a 3rd or 4th seed, I feel like Steph wins MVP. I think that's literally like he's having such a great year, close to his unanimous MVP season, and it's like, dude, like I would just give it to him again, man. He's that guy. He's killer. And he literally showed this year. I know a lot of haters are not going to care because they're not competing, but he literally showed this year that he can be great without the likes of Klay Thompson or Kevin Durant.
I mean,
And
yes, but I mean, the very next question is like, okay, but does that translate to, what does that translate to? You know what I mean? And it's like,
well, and
is greatness defined by the team wins or by just the guy's stats? You know what I
personally,
mean?
for me, his greatness this year is by his stats, like literally like how great he is playing. You know,
Yeah,
if if he wasn't playing this great on a bad team, it's like, well, okay, like I feel like I don't know, like you see how LeBron kind of had like his little down year, the year that the Lakers were not that good. You know what I mean? And
and they
nobody
and they
cared.
and they and they didn't make the playoffs,
They didn't make
and
the playoffs. And so it's like nobody cared. You know what I mean? But if Steph has a bad year and the Warriors aren't winning games, then people are gonna trash that guy because they want to see him win without Kevin Durant, without like a loaded team. You know what I mean? Even though he did
yeah,
that, he did
I
that
mean,
already. He did that
yeah.
in 2015. The only
But
knock
but I
against
mean
him.
I think the general idea, or the general like opinion, is like the Warriors had they had a great team, but they, in most people's eyes, crossed the line when they got Kevin
Hmm.
Durant. So I think, with as much respect as you can give the Warriors, it's like, okay, the hardships that you're going through right now, we don't care about them. You know what I mean? It's like you're
Oh,
gonna
for
you're
sure.
you're, you're gonna go a good, I would say, maybe 2 to 3 years of from when KD leaves, a good 2 to 3 years after that, before people can start to warm up to you guys again. You know what I
For
mean?
sure,
Because it's
for
just
sure.
like
But I still think it's like I think
we're
that
still in
in
the we're
for
still in the phase of welcoming the
yeah,
Golden State's hardships. You know what I mean?
I still think it's still a little unwarranted to hate on Steph personally. Like you hate on the Warriors, you hate on the Warriors. I'm not gonna tell you that I'm happy the Warriors. Like I'm not gonna tell you
Yeah.
that I'm not happy the Warriors are in the playoffs. Like I'm happy the Warriors are not winning titles like they used to. You know what I mean? Because I want parity in the NBA. But it doesn't mean that I never disrespected Steph for him
Yeah, yeah,
playing
yeah.
with Kevin Durant. I
Yeah, to
disrespected
say to
KD for
but
going to
yeah.
join Steph. You know?
But I mean, but also, KD was the beneficiary. I mean, Steph was a beneficiary
Of
of
course, of
all
course.
of that. So you're not going to really get a whole bunch of sympathy from the NBA when it comes to Golden State, and they know
Yeah.
that too. And so they'll ride out these couple of years to get away from that KD stuff, and then if they play their cards right, they can maybe have another another run in them with at least Clay and Steph. Who knows if
Mhm.
Draymond's still around in 2 3 years, or in a year or two from now? I don't know what his contract stuff looks like, or any of that kind of stuff, or even if like Steve Kerr's around. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah. All right. So were you said you would give him your MVP? Were you gonna like go down the list with the season awards or anything like that or what?
Nah, you had mentioned MVP Jokic, and I was just like, oh yeah, well Steph's my MVP this year. But
Yeah,
I
I
can
get you.
under-
I get you.
I can also understand why people would make Jokic MVP. I'm not
Yeah.
telling you Jokic doesn't deserve MVP. Earlier this year, for me, it was Joel Embiid. Joel gets hurt. Then it was Jokic for a little bit, and then I saw Steph, and I was like, all right, it's Steph. Like for me, it was Steph.
I would say the idea of, I mean, obviously Murray hasn't been hurt as long as Clay. Clay's been out all year, but I
Mhm.
mean, you know,
And they were winning games
Jokic,
without Jaw. Come on.
Jokic, yeah, Jokic has had to win without his star. They're a deep team, way deeper than the Warriors are,
which is
obviously.
which is why
Uh,
Michael Porter Jr. stepped up. Michael Porter Jr. started averaging like 25 the second Jamal
Yeah,
Murray got out. So
yeah.
it was just
So,
like,
so but just, I mean, the idea of being able to run a team through you, and when a big piece of that machine falls away, you still being able to keep it going. You know,
mhm,
it does speak to the depth of their team and to the coaching and all that, but it's still led by the same guy, and
for sure.
him being able to, he's smart enough to say, okay, I can see how this guy is plugging himself into this offense, and I know how to kind of keep everything moving around, all of it. You know what I mean?
For
Because
sure, for sure.
that's a kind of what like sways me, and I mean,
In
I
wanting
love
him.
watching him play.
For sure, for sure.
I do want to ask real quick, just because we do know, we do know like the Eastern, the playing, the you know those playing games so far. Like who do you got over Hornets Pacers? That would be
Oh, the
the
playing game.
yeah, the Eastern playing game.
I would hope that the Pacers could pull out a win against the Hornets. I personally like I don't know if Gordon Hayward. I'm pretty sure Gordon Hayward's healthy right now. I'm pretty sure their entire team's healthy right now, and that team's good. Like Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, Devontae Graham. You know, like they have solid pieces on that team. But I don't think it's as deep as a team when you have Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, Miles Turner, Demonis Sabonis, TJ McConnell. I could go on and on about that team. Aaron Holiday, like they have good enough. I feel like that Pacers team got hit with some COVID stuff, knocked them down a couple steps. They should technically be in the playoffs right now, and this is their chance to just fight their way back into it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't see. Let me look up an IR because I haven't seen Hayward on their
on their IR list,
well, he didn't play these last couple games, but you know,
could
they
have
could have
been,
been,
could have
it
been,
could have
yeah.
been, yeah. So let me just check real quick. Uh, Hayward is not expected to be available for the play-in tournament.
See, so I fully expect the Pacers to win. I fully expect
Yeah.
the Pacers to win. I don't think LaMelo could unless he has like a career night. I don't think he could single-handedly take on the Pacers.
And then okay, so Karis LeVert's day to day. Jeremy Lamb won't be available Tuesday. This is Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So no Jeremy Lamb. Aaron Holiday, he was out today against the Raptors, so I don't know if he's available for the play-in. Malcolm Brogdon. Oh no, these are probably just guys that weren't playing today for because it's a regular season finale or something.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Da 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 da. And then so TJ Warren is out for the rest of the season. Oh, and then Miles Turner, no timetable to return for a right toe sprain. When did that happen? May 13.
Wow. So that's a big hit to them too. But
Mm.
we'll see.
So yeah, so
I
no
would
Miles Turner.
I would still I would still say the Pacers could win against the Hornets. And then Celtics Wizards.
As far as I know, they could have Malcolm Brogdon and Aaron Holiday. But yeah.
So yeah, I think the depth of that Pacers team could be able to swing that game.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't know if you remember the game that we played against the Pacers, but TJ McConnell freaking had like a triple double or something like that against us.
Yeah.
Um,
I think he played well both times, right? Like he didn't
yeah,
go off on the second one, but he still was crafty and was getting to the things that he wanted to do. Or I guess I should just say like he was frustrating me.
for sure, for sure. In
All
terms of
right, all right. Hey, go ahead. Yeah, go to the next one. Boston and Washington, I believe, right?
yep, in terms of Celtics Wizards, Jalen Brown's out. I'm not betting against Bradley Beal. Give me the Wizards. That is not gonna like. I'm not gonna. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's anything that'll sway me away from saying the Wizards are gonna lose that game.
I mean, Jaylen Brown is out, but I mean, Marcus Smart, Tristan Thompson, Kemba Walker, Robert Williams, Jason Tatum. I mean,
but then I feel like on the Wizards side, you have, if I'm not mistaken, so obviously I feel like the three main names that you'll remember are going to be Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Davis Bertans, right? Then they traded and they got Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford's a solid little center. And I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like just like that little bit, I would still say that like I could tell you that Bradley Beal is nearly, if not as much of a good player as Jason Tatum is. You know what I mean? Like you could go flip flop on who would you want between Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum. Bradley Beal, I feel like is he's definitely the second best scorer in the league because he was second in the scoring title. So I would say he was a better scorer than Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum just has more size, a little bit better defensively. You know what I mean?
okay.
But then Kemba Walker has not been good this year. He has not been good unless Kemba can turn it around and just immediately pick up the output that Jaylen Brown was doing. He's not going to be as good as a guy like Russell Westbrook is.
Well, I mean, you know, I feel like you had talked before about like his usage rate, right? And it's like he just needs to have the ball more. Well, or there just needs to be more opportunities for him to be able to thrive. And this would be an opportunity, right? With Brown being out.
For sure. And I love Kemba. I love Kemba, but I just him being on this down year, it's like it's at a point where I'm like, well, I don't know if he'll be able to pick it up at this point in the season. You know what I mean?
So Wizards are without Denis because he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Thomas Bryant is out, and then Raul Neto is day to day as of today. So that's it. So they're they're pretty healthy as far as healthy as they could be. The Bradley Beal, Davis Bertans, Isaac Bonga. Let's see who else is like Hachimura, Len, Robin Lopez. Ish Smith.
And Ish Smith is not a bad backup point guard either.
He's been around. Yeah.
He has been around.
Yeah, I mean, and on top of that, I mean, when you think about the one game winner take all kind of scenario, I mean, Bradley Beal, not that he's been like in like a whole bunch of playoffs, you know what I mean? But just the idea of giving a guy like Bradley Beal and especially a guy like Russell Westbrook, like the knowledge of like, this is your one shot, beat him. And matter of fact, it's the 8-9. So it's like beat him and you don't even got to worry about the play in anymore. You know what I mean?
I think like, I would say that the Wizards kind of have it in the bag. Like not saying that like the Celtics can't compete, but I think with the way the Celtics season has been going for them, I would give more to the Wizards. Like, especially because of how like the Wizards turned it around, and it's both teams. The Celtics played good at the beginning of the season, and then just couldn't really handle it at the end of the season. That's why they're 7th seed right now.
Yeah, if you think of their current trends, Washington is definitely trending in a better direction.
Yeah, Wizards were garbage at the beginning of the season, and have turned it around, and now they're an 8th seed. So it's like, well, I personally think that this team could push that playoff seed, and then I think they could fight Philly for a little bit. I think Bradley could or no, because they'd be the 7th seed. So who would they be playing? The Bucks, right?
I think that the 2 seed is not settled yet because I don't have the games right here because the Bucks and the Bulls play tonight at 8. So I think that the Bucks. Oh, depending on how
if the Nets lose against the Cavs, there's a chance for the Bucks to take the 2nd seed.
Yeah. So as of right now, the Wizards would if they beat the Celtics, they would have to play. Oh, I mean, yeah.
One of the Nets.
Either the Nets or the Bucks, which is going to be tough, regardless. But I mean.
I still think they could give either one of those teams like a good run for their money, like maybe not a 7-game series, but like a solid 6 to 5 game series. Like
I mean, I think if they play Brooklyn, I think it'll be 5 or 4.
Yeah,
just
because
if
they play the Bucks, I could
because
see
that's a little bit too much emotionally charged, like Westbrook versus Harden and Durant kind of thing. I mean, that would be great for the headlines. You know what I mean? Heck yeah. Matter of
Yes, it
fact,
would, and
matter
I
of
tune
fact,
into every game
yeah. Matter of fact, I don't know if I would be. Matter of fact, I think I kind of want to pick the. I kind of want to pick the Wizards to beat Boston.
just so that they could play against the Nets.
Oh no, because it would. Okay, so I think that the Nets will probably hold on to that 2 seed.
Yeah, I think so too, because they're playing against the Cavs.
Yeah. So yeah, heck yeah. I would be down with if the Wizards, won a game to earn the right to go play the Nets. You know what I mean? I think
Mm-hmm.
that would be fun. I would be down with that.
Um,
I would if I would lean towards Boston in the Wizards Boston one. Um, Mainly just because I mean I know that I mean obviously Westbrook has been there before. He went to the NBA Finals before, but I mean this is Tatum's opportunity to kind of just he's the head of the snake. It's gonna fall on how he shows up, and I think that if there is a time to show that you can kind of carry your team to a new level or just a place that maybe nobody really knows if you can get there or not. This is a good opportunity for him. And they got, they still, they haven't really been able to get Evan Fournier to kind of click all the way yet. But he's an opportunity waiting to happen. Sorry, the other guy, Jabari
Parker.
Jabari Parker is an opportunity waiting to happen. He's had some good moments with them already. You know what I mean? So and then a guy like Tristan Thompson, he's been around. You know what I mean? We haven't and didn't even talk about Kemba yet. I just think that they have like more opportunities for big moments or for contributors. I mean, obviously the Wizards are going to go where Beal and Westbrook take them, but I don't know. I would probably lean towards Boston.
I could see that. I can understand your reasoning as to why you would choose Boston over them.
Because I do think that Boston is in the 7th seed because of their. I mean, it kind of has been a little bit more inconsistencies on their part, even though they did lose, Brown, and I don't know if they've been dealing with injuries throughout the whole season because I haven't paid that close attention to them.
And that was like one of the biggest things is the headlines of Jason Tatum, and it was literally like Jason Tatum never had health problems or never had breathing problems, but then he got hit with COVID, and all of a sudden every game he has to use an inhaler.
True.
So
okay. Yeah. Okay.
So that's like one of the things that's like hit them the most. That's like why Jason Tatum might not be as good.
So then I would say, I mean, in a perfect world with this Celtics team, even if they did, if they lost Jaylen Brown around the same time of the year, I think that they would be they would probably be like us like locked into the top 4. I mean, right now there's a 5.5 game drop off from 3 to 4. I feel like they would be in contention for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th seed. They might be a few games back, but I think that they would be firmly up above. So I don't know. I just feel like even without Jaylen Brown, they have a little bit more talent throughout.
I think a team like the Knicks and the Hawks have been able to prosper out of teams like the Heat, the Celtics, and the Pacers getting hit with the COVID weeks. Because I don't think I remember the Hawks. I don't think I remember the Hawks or the Knicks having a lot of COVID problems this year.
And the Hawks and the Knicks they're pretty fortunate to be able to play each other in the first round because at least one of them is getting a chance to go to the second round.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Because if they were even if it was like the Hawks were, even if it was just flipped to where Miami was playing New York and the Hawks, because right now it's 4-5 Knicks Hawks. If the Hawks slid down to 6 and had to play Milwaukee, they would be gone. If the Heat were up in 5th and had to play New York would be gone
for sure.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think they benefited for sure.
It's crazy to see that the Eastern Conference Finals is finna happen in the first round this year. The Eastern Conference Finals last year is finna happen in the first round this year. Wait, no, the second round. It was actually the second round. My bad. Because the Heat played against the Bucks in the second round and took care of business, and now they're about to play them in the first round, and I think they're gonna take care of business. It's gonna be kind of tough.
You think that the Heat are gonna take care of business again?
Yes, the Heat have been killing these last couple games, and I honestly don't think that I don't even think that you need to worry about like the fact that like Tyler Hero just isn't outputting as much as he was last year. I think the way that Bam is playing, the way Jimmy's gonna step up, you never count out a guy like Goran Dragic. I know Victor Oladipo's not going to be there, so that kind of hurts. I don't think this is like a championship year for the Heat, but I still think that they have a chance to compete and beat a team like the Bucks this first round.
Man, I mean, but I mean,
I would say
you throw the motive. I mean, you're gonna have a motivated as hell, Giannis, man. You know what I mean?
Try not to lose that game. And honestly, if the
Yeah.
Heat lose, I don't even think that you like hate on the Heat or anything like that and be like, oh, you made it to the finals and lose in the first round. Like, no, it's two different situations. They don't have the guy that they traded for. Tyler Hero's not playing as good as he was last year, and like they have a little less depth than they did last year. Last year they had Jay Crowder, and he was a big help in the playoff run. This year they don't have that, so it's like it's just a little bit of a different team. But I think you come in next year and you kind of retool with the Heat, and they might go back to the Heat of old and be able to compete again. Either way, these playoffs are going to be super fun. I'm very excited for all of these matchups, especially in the East and the West, in both seeds, because they're just going to be so excited. Like I'm so excited to see these games. I feel like there's not a single series that at the moment there's not a single series that I can tell you it's going to be a 4-game sweep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of fun to watch, and we'll have an opportunity next weekend to come on and just kind of talk. I would say a little bit like we were doing today. Would be cool. I mean, hopefully, in a perfect world, for me at least, we got a game on Wednesday against the Grizzlies. We got a game on Friday against the Blazers or the Lakers or the Warriors, and I would love to see us go get a 4 to 5 game test against the Jazz. Do I think we're going to win that series? No, but I would value that experience. And maybe it's because I don't pay attention to college basketball that I don't know what I'm missing out on by going from the 14th pick to the to the 9th pick or the 8th pick or whatever we would land or whatever. So, but again, not hating on how anybody wants to be a fan. But I think we're pretty much done for the day. We're just about it's 8:00. So these Western Conference games are getting ready to start. This Milwaukee game is getting ready to start. So we're gonna be signing off so we can go check some of that stuff out. But it was good talking, man.
It was great talking. I am so excited for playoff basketball. Around favorite time of the year for me. We're getting at the end of school, get to watch basketball. Everything's gonna be all good.
It's play-in season and then playoff season.
Yes, sir.
This will be fun. All right, Jake. Well, thanks for chilling for a little bit on the Sunday evening. Thanks to anybody who jumped in and watched us while we were live. Thanks to anybody who's checking us out on a replay on our YouTube channel. We do try to go live on Sundays at 10 a.m. And then if we switch it up, we try to let you guys know. But we usually do that through our Twitter account. So if you're down with hearing us talk again, go check us out on our Twitter page at Heroes Half Court. We'll definitely be tweeting on Wednesday a whole bunch, getting pretty crazy, I bet. So I think that's it, man. I think we're good to go. So until next week, go Spurs, go. We'll see if we got some more games for next week to talk about, some more Spurs games, huh?
Hopefully.
Exactly. All right, Jake. Well, peace out and have a good rest of your day. And everybody else, bye-bye. Go Spurs.
Bye-bye.